I think, I mean, a Prop Paladin and a Shadow Priest, if they manage to connect on the Hunter or the Shaman, he's going to take so much damage. And hopefully we get to
Yeah.
see that this game.
Yeah, Jpeg did go in there for the Shadow Fury Howl, but unfortunately for him, Charmer Totem was down. We can see that some damage is being put into this prop paladin. Looks like that's going to be the target. CSU's there on a Saashax, but I think it was missed. So the VT is going to be coming out. Chrysalide's going for those healing waves. And Hodge is going to be used immediately on Jpeg. They're trying to get that damage done, and Jpeg's actually going to have to trinket it.
Not sure if that Trinket was necessary. Not too much damage coming out, but I think that they're letting Jpeg cast too much. I think Explosive Yo should just be more onto Jpeg, summon those Incinerates, because he was just able to spam 6 or 7 Incinerates in a row onto Horibadi, and it's just going to be an unhealable damage if he manages to crit enough.
Yeah, I mean, Destrolox definitely do some insane damage if you can get that those crits going. So they definitely have to be aware of that. Horibadi kind of feared out into the middle once again, and he's going to be turreted on by Jpeg. Yeah, as you said, look at him just spamming those Incinerates over and over. And Horibadi down to 30% HP is going to have to kite back to the pillar and get topped off here once again.
Yeah, just being able to scatter the Shaman for 4 seconds, not even able to trap him, but just scatter him for 4 seconds while you're tunneling damage onto the Paladin, it's just going to do so much.
Yeah, and there's actually a full Hodge on Jpeg, and Chrysalide's caught in that fear. His Tremor was killed. He's going to have to trinket it, and Jpeg also Healthstoning there as well. NS was used. The NS will crit with the tidal waves. Lust used on both sides right now. Feldom having to be used there by Jpeg as well. So they're actually just going to use the Lust to go on this pet, and they're trying to absolutely burst down that pet so fast. It is being health funneled. It has Earth Shield as well, but I'm not sure if that's even going to be enough. Looks like they are going to give up on that. Go over onto the crab pet, though, and try to get that killed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the HLD can kill the Paladin so fast generally, but I think he might be wearing more resilience than usually. But Saashax down to 30%, having dispersed the damage, and I think that might have been a wise choice because so much damage came out. I mean, both the Hunter and the Lock was free casting into him pretty much. Horibadi actually moving back, trying to avoid that damage, turn out those spells, and the team of the Prop Paladin can actually be really annoying to this kind of team. Just, I mean, double the spell on the Immolate is going to be very annoying for Jpeg to fight against.
Yeah, it's definitely extremely frustrating to deal with, and maybe as a result he should be playing UA, but I'm not quite sure. Destro still can do some huge bursts when you finally do get those UAs up, and when you finally do get those Immolates up and are able to connect. Shadow Fiend has been popped though, so they want to get a lot of damage done here on Jpeg. He had to go Demon Armor already, throwing out that fear onto the Paladin defensively. He's going to be able to get a flag off there, doing some pretty decent damage, but Saashax was into a scatter there. Incinerates are being spammed out here by Jpeg. We can see that Chrysalide is keeping his team topped off pretty well, and they're just kind of kiting this Prop Paladin out into the middle, and he's not liking that too much. So he's actually going to turn around and try to change targets over onto the Hunter.
Yeah, unfortunately for Sasha, his Shadow Fiend was speared straight out of the direction of the Tremor Totem, so he basically didn't get any mana or damage from that Shadow Fiend, but he is looking very fine on mana, and that's one of the perks of using double Solace. You do pretty much have infinite mana as a Shadow Priest unless you get burned.
Yeah, you definitely do, and I mean, Chrysalide is the one that's really kind of struggling more on the mana so far. He is back on about 4k on the mana. Just these Prop Paladins put out so much DPS, man. Even though there's no MS up, it's just constant damage you're always having to heal through, and they have a lot of cleave attacks, so they're doing damage to the pets as well. Chrysalide's going to go into that Hodge, and they're bursting AZK quite a bit here. He's at 50% HP back behind the pillar. He's going to have a nice CC though onto the Paladin, keep him off himself for a little bit.
Yeah, as you said, the Prop Paladins do so much DPS, like the sustain damage is so high that, I mean, if they just get a couple of crits with the CC on Chrysalide, they can easily kill ACK, force the turns to use to stop the damage. And that makes sense. I mean, this Horibadi Paladin is just being able to sit on the Hunter for so long now.
Yeah, Explosive is drinking, man. Explosivo is drinking, and that's pretty huge. He does get just about 3k mana back there. Saashax going to be forced to disperse. We can see the Hex was used there onto that Paladin. It was just cleansed though, and Jpeg's at 40% HP. He is silenced. He can't port just yet. He's taking quite a bit of damage. He does get out of there important now, but Chrysalide has a lot of healing to do, and the Hellstone has to be used. Jpeg going to remake his Hellstone right after using it. I do like that quite a bit. We can see that Chrysalide is going to be able to land that heal, redrop his Tremor, and a lot of damage being put into the Fellhunter right now here from Horibadi. The Fellhunter will be put on stay there though, and another fear is going to land from Jpeg onto this Paladin.
Yeah, Horibadi doing a good job is keeping that constant pressure up, and I think that's exactly what they need. I mean, Chris is down to 10,000 mana, and he did actually use his mana type before, so 10,000 mana is all he got right now, and having a Shadow Priest in your team like Explosive Yo does, essentially puts you at double healer, so if he's having any trouble healing, I mean, Saashax uses the healing.
Yeah, and look at all this damage on Jpeg. Big heal does land, but I mean Jpeg dipping down about 30% HP before being able to catch that big heal, and it just makes it so costly for Chrysalid to keep up with this. And you know, Chrysalid's even rotting a little bit too. Those Shadow Priest dots, you can see him dipping down about 70% HP. He's gonna get silenced. He drops the grounding. It will be taken out, and Jpeg's at about 60%. We can see AZK was taking a little bit of the cleave damage there. They may want to go back on this pet. The pet already does have the Earth Shield though, but you know that's probably gonna end up having to be swapped because Jpeg is taking a ton of damage.
Jpeg has been under constant pressure this game, and Saashax is actually falling down to about 7,000 mana. We can see those one of those spears onto the paladin is instantly dispelled or tremor. Like they have, this team completely neglects the fact that they have a fear or any kind of magic CC at all.
Oh, and wings have been popped, man. Wings and the trinket have been popped by this prop paladin, so he's gonna get a ton of damage done. It's actually purged off there by Chrysalid. Nice job by him. And now this prop paladin's kind of put in a bit of an awkward position out in the middle.
Yeah, and we see AZK just turning into the paladin. One of the things with a melee class like AZK shooting into, well, not melee class, but a physical class shooting into the prop paladin is that he does actually get his reckoning proc, which gives him extra attacks every time he's on someone. So if AZK actually feeds him with those reckoning procs while he's on Jpeg, Jpeg is going to take a lot more damage than he's supposed to.
Yeah, he definitely is. But I mean, they're doing some good damage here to Saashax, but I'm not sure, you know, what the strategy really is going to be. And we can see Horribaddy's going to get Hex. He's actually going to trinket it and one-shot that Mana Tide from Chrysalid. But I think most of the mana was already returned for Chrysalid. We can see a Hodge was thrown out there by Horribaddy onto Chrysalid, but it was devoured immediately. AZK, though, is kind of pretty far away, and he was getting soloed by that Shadow Priest. A big heal does land, though, from Chrysalid. It's going to crit and top him back off, and Saashax really the one under pressure here. But Explosivo did get a drink off, man, so he's at 16k mana.
Yeah, Jpeg actually tried to coil the priest just a couple of seconds back to get the pressure up, but this one didn't really work out. But Horribad is down to 28% health here, popping that Holy Shield to avoid some damage from the hammer, but seems like
well, the NS was popped, but Explosivo NS'd himself. He NS'd himself by accident. He just gets spell locked there after getting silencing shot, and Horribaddy's gonna get soul drained, and he's gonna have to bubble. And yeah, he's just, what is going on with that? That was, I'm pretty sure he NS'd himself.
He must have, because the paladin's health didn't move. Saashax under a lot of pressure now, though. He does have his disperse, so he should not be in that much trouble, even if he would dip lower. But he's able to just connect to that pillar and just line of sight the damage. And Saashax just sitting by that pillar pretty much the entire game, just so he can line of sight the damage from the hunter and the Dashlock.
Yeah, AZK does get top out there by Chrysalid. And Chrysalid, you know, is doing a good job maintaining. He hasn't really been able to get a drink off, but he's just being very efficient. Now he's going to go for the drink. We'll see how much he can get back, because this could be huge. It may just come down to that mana game, and he's still drinking, you know, really just depending on his teammates to keep themselves alive. He does get about 6,000 mana back, and Jpeg is going to get some big heals here. AZK, though, is in some trouble. Horribaddy at 23% could go down as well. Some heals do land on him, and everyone on both sides looks like they're going to get topped up.
Yeah, both Explosivo and Chrysalid being able to third those healing wave with a Riptide proc, which essentially makes him 1.7 second cast, and he's being able to top their teammates fairly fast. And there's only 2.5 minutes left of this game, so I don't think mana is going to be an issue this game. It's going to end too fast, so we're gonna have to see some offensive plays from either teams to be able to land a killer, I think.
Yeah, Chrysalid kind of moving across the map there. I wasn't sure if he was going to go for a Hex, but it looks now like he just wants to kite away and not make himself an option for a swap. We can see some damage is going to be coming in here from Jpeg. His Chaos Bolt does get grounded nicely by Explosivo, though, and that's going to shut down a lot of that pressure. Jpeg now going to get shocked on that Incinerate, then Hex on his Immolate, so that has to be pretty annoying. Some good defensive play there from Explosivo when Jpeg came into his range.
Yeah, and I think Chrysalid waited a bit too long with changing his Earth Shield to Jpeg there. Jpeg actually dipped under 50% before actually getting Earth Shield, but seems like it doesn't really matter since he managed to top him off anyway. AZK in some trouble getting that Earth Shield swapped, and I think generally Earth Shield is so strong against no MS teams.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I think he's just more worried about those pets dying because he doesn't want, you know, Jpeg to run out of pets or anything like that. But Horribaddy down to 10% HP. He does pop his shield wall. It throws out the Hodge and the Turn Evil and everything, so he's going to get top back off. But we have to remember he doesn't have Bubble, so, you know, if he dies, he dies.
Yeah, Bubble is down for another 2 minutes, but he does have his Argent Defender still, right? The sort of sheet death that works. So,
yeah, I think he probably does. So yeah, that is pretty big.
Yeah, and I think it seems like the Horribaddy is running quite a lot of resilience, because usually a protection paladin running 300-400 resilience would be dead already. So playing a bit of a defensive protection paladin, I guess you can say, but still taking quite a lot of damage. Jpeg down to 6%, but having that Earth Shield and Crystal being able to basically free heal her because it's not any CC going out, Jpeg should be fine. Horbat down to 40% health there, and he's just taking so much damage all the time. This is already gone on to Horbat, but it's going to be dispelled even. I think Saashax actually trinket that Shadow Fury to be able to heal him.
Yeah, I believe you're right, and he's not gonna have a trinket, but I mean Horbat he still has the spells he can do, and Explosivo is doing a good job topping his team back off, and Crystal had a big man advantage, but like you said, there's not much time left on this game, so I think we are gonna pretty much have a timeout. I mean we can't have more than 20 seconds left. Yeah, 25 seconds remaining. Horbat dipping low, so this is probably going to be the last chance for a kill here if they have any interrupts for Explosivo, but he does land that one heal. He's going to go for a Hex now. They are pushing in. Jpeg's taking some damage here as well. Wings have been popped, so this is kind of the last hurrah. Maybe they can kill Jpeg here. He's down to 20% HP. Going to have to get NS and pop his Health Stone, and with that, there's only 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is the timeout.
Right, so we do run into a draw here, so that puts the team as 1-1. So that means it's match point for both teams for next game, and I'm not sure if we're going to see another draw. I think that the game.
Affliction, but he's taking a lot of damage here. He's actually gonna have to trinket and port. We have to remember he's not gonna have nether protection, so he will take a lot more damage from Saashax.
Yeah, exactly. He's not gonna have nether protection, so Saashax is actually gonna be able to do some really high damage to him, and we have to remember that I don't know. Nether protection doesn't work for Holy, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter for the Protection Paladin, because Protection Paladin is essentially a caster, because every single damage he put out, apart from the melee hits, is magic damage. So Saashax is dipping down to 70% with a fair onto Explosive Yo, but having that double spells doesn't really matter. Horbat actually being coiled at 30%. This is Scatter onto Explosive Yo. We might see a bubble being forced here, but no. This is simply Urcha being up and him taking himself, but the Explosive Yo did actually trinket something there though, having to NS already. Horbat is still at 50%. There's a big heal coming out, tops him up to 80% health, and he should be fine from now on.
Yeah, and he had to trinket and tremor there as well, so NS and trinket both being used by Explosivo at the same time, and I feel like this UA spec is working out better. I mean, with the double defensive dispel, Destro just was not effective.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I mean, what's it not? They don't have the same burst as they do with Destruction. He's gonna be able to get so much more pressure out on Explosivo's team, and maybe even drain his mana, because that's Jpeg does that so much. He drains mana.
Yeah, and I think it's a good choice. Chrysalid, though, gonna have to pop his NS, so we can see that Lust has been popped by Chrysalid. And wow, he's taking so much damage. He already is NS. He was down about 40% HP. He got 3 straight heals off and finally got himself top. But now, I mean, the damage is just not stopping. But he's just under pressure constantly. They are going to try to go back and kill that Fell Hunter, not able to do so. So they are just going to swap right back to Chrysalid, but no damage really coming in from Saashax just yet, and now he's going to get dots up onto Chrysalid, so Chrysalid can be in a ton of trouble because he's just been diving constantly, even without the Shadow Priest connecting.
Yeah, but Horbat is going to go back to Jpeg and trying to get that damage out, but Jpeg is just going to be able to try to get those dots up against Drain Life to be able to sustain himself to this prop element.
Yeah, and they are doing a pretty good job of that. Horbat, though, is at about 60% HP. Jpeg getting some good dots out onto him. I'd love to see him just continue to do the multi-dotting, just kind of really try to spread the pressure, see if they can just win on mana, because they have a significant mana advantage right now. Horbat is taking some damage, and there's the drained mana coming out onto Saashax, as you talked about.
Yeah, and that's one of the signature moves from Jpeg, I feel like, on the server. A lot of the European players tend not to mana drain as much, but Jpeg mana drains like all the time, and it's a very successful warlock on the server, so obviously mana draining is not a bad idea at all. But I just said the multi-dotting from Jpeg is creating so much pressure on Explosive Yo. Maybe they might not be low health, but Explosive Yo has to heal multiple targets, and throwing out those lesser healing waves all the time is just gonna cost so much mana eventually.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I mean, Jpeg has kind of slowed down on that multi-dotting for now, but I would love to see him just continue that, just tab dot basically the whole game. That's how you're going to get a ton of damage done. He's just spamming drain mana though right now on Saashax, trying to tap him out. And I mean, if he does get the Shadow Priest completely he's going to just be in a great position because they're going to know that no damage is coming in. And there's the Disperse Force. He has to try to get some mana back, but he is going to be able to do so, but he's still quite low on mana, only at about 7k coming out of that Disperse.
Yeah, Explosive Yo is actually still at 10,000 mana, but Horbat's taking so much damage, but Urcha's still being up and everything. Explosive Yo is gonna have a pretty easy time hitting it up, I would think, but he did actually NS there, and there's another big hit coming. Horbat is actually being top, but Saashax under 4,000 mana, and Jpeg just keeps training Saashax, knowing that he does not have his dispersion right now, which means that he he can't really recover his mana in any way. He just actually healed him up to get his mana back, but most of the mana is just temporary from that buff, and I think Jpeg is gonna keep draining, maybe forcing a dispersion just to get the mana back is
Yeah.
the way they will get a kill.
Yeah, Explosivio got a little bit of drink there, but he has to stand up because Horobati is taking a lot of damage. There's a silencing shot though onto that heal from Explosivio. Are they going to be able to get a spell lock on that one? No, it does not look like it. Mind Blast coming out onto AZK. He's dipping pretty low.
And there we go, Jpeg is just starting up Saashax and just keep draining his mana. I know if I was Saashax, I'd be pretty mad by this point.
Yeah, it's definitely really frustrating to deal with that kind of stuff. And wow, Saashax is actually going to die. He tipped down about 5% and just fell over. AZK is fairly low here as well, but he is not going to fall. And S comes out from Chrysalid, topping him back off, and that should be the